Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't it?
It is nice. Their football stadium had like 3 sections of seats, though. It was kind of shocking.
Yeah, they were doing
much bigger.
They're doing the Vanderbilt holding everything up by cranes construction vibe.
Yeah,
you know.
It's a nice campus so far, though.
Yeah, we're enjoying it. It's been fun. We've had a lot of fun, Zach, haven't we?
Yeah.
Which, like, hey, Zach, we're on a road trip together.
Here.
This is fun. Look at this.
Look, it's a quarter.
It's a little...
It was Tails, though. I think Tails is bad.
Tails always fails. It's a preview for what is to come. This is the regular season finale. Don't get hit by a car, Steven.
Doesn't matter where we are. We're always looking out for Steven's health, first and foremost.
Correct. It's a preview of what's to come. Nashville, starting on Thursday. Zachary, we are very excited for postseason play, but until then, we got some business to take care of as the Cats take on the Missouri Tigers here in Columbia. How are you feeling, bud?
Well, I'll be better once we get to the top of
Look at this stupid, ridiculous, dumb hill. Who invented this?
I'm doing great, though. We've had a nice trip so far. We got down here yesterday, I don't know, like mid-afternoon-ish. Our Airbnb had a rock wall in it. Yes,
and
a
chickens.
Rock wall. Chickens out back with a giant rooster that was just... He was in his bag this morning, let me tell you that. He did not shut up. My goodness, this is a long hike up here. I'm going to show how out of shape I am by the time we're at the top of this thing.
Oh, my God. Pretend that you're not out of breath.
I feel like there was one... Oh, and we had a basketball goal out front. So we dusted off the old...
Sneakers.
The old Sneakies, a.k.a. the same shoes I wore when I came down here. And we did a bunch of game to 21 where I did...
What's the final...
understand the rules.
What's the final score update? What were the game results?
I don't know.
Just curious. I'd like to hear it from you.
Okay, yes. I won a game.
A game?
Yeah.
Out of how many?
It doesn't matter how many there were. Let's just say that I won a game, and the proof will be in the tape when Steven releases it for his road trip video.
That's a good point. So, a lot on the line today.
Yes.
A lot. We are guaranteed a single bye in Nashville, but a win today could secure upward of a number 5 seed.
Yeah, I believe that's the maximum.
As low as a 7 with a win.
Yes.
With a loss guaranteed an 8.
Yes. So that's big time. And there's a lot of still other moving factors for the other conference standings. Like I think Arkansas's, they have to win, and then like Vandy has to win or something like that for them to get the 9 seed, which would set up obviously a very interesting first round scenario if Kentucky is to get the 8 seed and lose today. But, whew, all right. We made it to the top here. My goodness. But the big thing is the NCAA tournament seeding. Like if you can get a 3 seed, if you pull out this win, you're very much in line to get that 3 seed. Kentucky's still kind of hanging on to that. Like I think Lenardi had him as the best 4 seed.
Correct.
So there's a lot on the line in that sense that if you lose, it's not going to necessarily hurt you, but a win could do a lot in terms of SEC and NCAA tournament seeding, which is that's all we're about right now. It's about to get to what are the matchups, and that's really how it's going to play out. I mean, postseason play is all about matchups. So,
yeah. So today's matchup, it is the regular season finale. The Missouri Tigers.
They do have a cool arena.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
From the outside looking in, at least.
Otega Owe shirt. We like that.
Oh, we do like that.
We like Otega Owe.
Steven, jump out in traffic real quick. I'll come with you. We really got a perfect day here, actually, as well, I will say. It's going to get a little bit warmer, but Jack, what can you tell us about Missouri?
They get up and down. They've lost 3 of the last 4, unfortunately. So
to who as well? I think that should be pointed out as well.
So I don't know if they're going to have the desperation factor, but
they're not exactly playing for a major tournament seed or SEC seed, at least I wouldn't think.
Right. Yeah, they're kind of playing for that 5 seed as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Would you rather be facing a team that's desperate or one that is on somewhat of a winning streak?
I think I'm perfectly fine with playing the Missouri team as they are because, like we said, they've lost 3 of 4. The 3 losses came to, I believe it was Vandy, Oklahoma, Arkansas.
Arkansas, yep.
The 1 win in that span came to South Carolina, the worst team in the league, outside of maybe LSU.
They did crush them, though.
So they did beat them, but those last 4 games do not inspire much confidence if I were a Missouri fan coming into this one, where Missouri has still scored a lot in those games. So I think that's a key point here. So you've got 2 top 10 offenses going head-to-head today. So you could get a score in the mid-80s, high 80s even. I think I predicted UK to have 91 points, something like that. Spoiler for our prediction later.
There we go.
But so I think where Missouri is right now is this is what you're kind of getting them at a good time, I think, because they might just be thinking, let's get to the tournament, let's just try and close things out here. They didn't have anyone in their injury report last night, so they might be thinking, let's just make sure we can stay healthy, all that. Kentucky might be having a similar attitude. It didn't sound like Mark Pope was like, yeah, we're going down to Missouri to do whatever it takes to go win this game. He kind of was talking, maybe looking a little bit ahead to the SEC tournament. Those kind of go one and the same, though, is if you win today, you're putting yourself in good position for the SEC tournament. But yes, I think Kentucky's in a good situation right now as all these Missouri fans just flood in upon us right now. A lot of yellow in here, but
some blue, some speckles,
there's a reason
some
Missouri
speckles.
is still a 6.5 point favorite. As of, I think the line's been growing.
What do you think about that? It opened as a 3.5 in favor of the Tigers, and it has grown since to 6.5. Anything to that? I
think probably because Missouri has one home loss this season, is doing the bulk of the work there. I think they're 18-1. I forget who their lone loss was. We talked about it. Sources say, I think it was like Alabama or something. Was it like they have their one home loss was like a good home loss to have, I believe. So that's probably explains the huge line. Is just Missouri's really good at home, so you expect them to have a really good crowd tonight. They're doing the Gold Rush as well, so they'll have. I mean, everyone's wearing yellow, as I'm sure they usually do. So we got some more Kentucky fans piling in here as well.
There we go. We like to see that.
As well. But yeah, so no injuries on either side. Clean bill of health going into this game. I mean, Jackson and Kerr withstanding in that regard. But the 6.5 point line is interesting, especially the fact that it keeps going up. But I feel oddly confident about this. Kentucky for some reason.
It is a weird feeling. And I asked Pope about this on Thursday. Like, do you think that there is a comfort of just knowing what you got? You can practice with this group. You know that this is the rotation that, a Trent Noah doesn't have to say, well, I could be playing 4 minutes there. I could be playing 25.
Yeah.
There's none of that anymore. It is we know what the roster is. We know what the health status is for all these guys. Is there a sense of comfort with that, knowing the personnel?
For me, yes, because I mean, obviously anything can happen during a game, but you're going into this one now. This is your 3rd game with the roster you have right now, so you can just take a little bit more comfort in knowing that, all right, this is the team we have now. We've played a couple of games. You get this game here to kind of serve as just another little tune-up game for the tournament as it comes closer. So I'm perfectly fine with how things are right now. Obviously, you'd rather have all those guys back, but the way that Kentucky has played the last 2 games without having Jackson in there, and as well as obviously Kerr, I feel good about where Kentucky is right now going into the tournament, because Colin Chandler is a big part of that as well, because he seems to be playing a little bit better, and it definitely feels like he will be part of the rotation going into the postseason as well. So, and that's the beauty, not the beauty, but the strange beauty, I guess, of having all those injuries throughout the season is now you're kind of going to be a little bit better fine-tuned going into it.
It's one of those deals where you take the short-term lumps, hoping that the payoff is that you can trust a Colin Chandler in a game like this, where this environment is tough. They, like you said, they never lose here. There we go. We love it.
We like it.
They don't lose here, so you could feel comfortable throwing Colin in. Whereas, could you imagine if he hadn't gotten these game reps?
Yeah.
Go Big Blue.
Go Cats.
Love to hear.
Lots of Kentucky
yeah, we're starting to feel it. In terms of the personnel with Mizzou, not very star heavy. They have their leading scorer comes off the bench. Pretty interesting. A 50% 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
Very, very impressive. Talent for him. 6-year senior. And then a guy you may be familiar with, Mark Mitchell.
Absolutely.
Leading the charge in the front court. What else can you say about this Missouri team?
I know they're a team that likes to not necessarily push the pace, but they like to play in transition a lot. Pope highlighted that during his press conference.
93rd percentile in transition.
So like a quarter of their scoring opportunities they like to try and get in transition. So they force a lot of steals. That's kind of their big thing. Is I think I don't know if they're the top team in the country, but they're one of the top teams, probably the top team in the SEC in terms of turning teams over. Kentucky's been pretty good about not turning the ball over lately. So we'll see, especially the last couple games. So we'll see how that plays out. I think Missouri is a really good three-point shooting team. They just don't shoot like 1,000 of them a game. They'll probably try and get into maybe that 20 range or something like that on their threes, but they make a pretty decently high clip. Like you said, they got a guy who hits 50%. Mark Mitchell is a very interesting matchup just because he's like a 6'9" forward or center kind of.
Yeah, guardy, forward, wingy.
Very like a versatile player. That was another guy that Pope highlighted, basically saying that this guy's an isolation man. Like they use him a lot in pick and rolls and stuff, or they'll try and get him in isolation situations on the block. So he's going to be a guy that Andrew Carr, Amari Williams, everyone's kind of going to have their hands full, but the front court should be a huge advantage today for Kentucky, just with Mark Mitchell kind of being their biggest guy. They've got other pieces as well, but
they're long and athletic, but they're not tall.
Yeah, so Kentucky should have a rebounding advantage today. The main thing that really, Kentucky's offense has obviously been great all year, but the defense, like when you go into the defensive numbers over the last however many games, you realize that Kentucky is turning teams over a lot more, and they're forcing teams to take a lot less threes. So those are kind of 2 points I think that we need to look at today is can Kentucky turn Missouri over, and can Kentucky prevent Missouri from shooting up 33s a game, and which they'll probably hit at a high clip.
Yeah, we'll see. There's like a weird confidence going into this one. I don't know why, because it does kind of, Kentucky has struggled against teams like this. But I don't know. I really like the way they performed. Again, competition, LSU's the worst team in the SEC, but I like the way they, in that setting with the rotation kind of confirmed and set, I like the way they responded. I like the way the bench, you just hope that you don't need a Brandon Garrison to go for 15 every single night. You don't need Colin Chandler to go for 11, but some type of balance between that grouping of four. Colin Chandler, 5, I guess, with Ainsley Almanor as well. But the bench just got to get more than the 5 that they gave you against Auburn. Doesn't have to be 43 that they gave you against LSU, but somewhere in the middle, I think, is going to probably make the difference today.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other key points or takeaways from this one that you're looking forward to? They do have a former NKU player, former Lexington native, actually.
There we go.
To Henry Clay, Marquise Warwick.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a role player. I don't think he's
senior day for him,
like a 15-minute per game type guy. So that'll be interesting to see him play. Just because I kind of remember watching him at NKU over the last. I think he was there for a while actually. And then transferred to Missouri, and like I said, has been a pretty decent role player. Dennis Gates, just in general, talking point or headline for the story is Dennis Gates. They were 0-18 last year in the SEC. Now they're about to be like a 5 or 6 seed in the NCAA tournament. So shout out to him and Pope.
Is he coach of the year?
He probably won't be, just because that's not how that award will get voted
on. It should,
because they're just probably going to give it to Bruce Pearl or some. I mean, Pat Kelsey. Honestly, I would not be upset with him.
SEC Coach of the Year.
SEC Coach of the Year. It'll probably be Bruce Pearl, because this is just the best team he's had yet. But Dennis Gates is more than deserving of it, as is like Mark Pope and even Mark Byington at Vanderbilt. But yeah, what Dennis Gates has done this year is pretty impressive, because he basically just brought in a couple of transfers and then developed a lot of their players in-house essentially over the offseason, and took an 0-18 squad that's now 11-6, I think, or hopefully 11-7 by the end of the day in SEC play. So
they have 7 today losses as is.
Okay, so they're 10-7. So try and knock them down to 10-8. So shout out to Dennis Gates. Like I said, him and Pope seem to really kind of enjoy each other. They played once back in 2021. Cleveland State versus BYU.
And it sounds, Dennis Gates said that Pope was one of the only people that would schedule that Cleveland State team at the time, and that he appreciated, he has an appreciation for Pope for doing that in a time that he didn't necessarily have to.
Yeah, and that was a season opener for BYU, and I think Cleveland State was just coming off probably their best season, or maybe a year before that, when Dennis Gates took them to the NCAA tournament. So it was a cool moment there between those two. They have some sort of relationship that makes them buddies, at least.
Hey, Ryan Perry.
There you go. Yeah, should you get him on? He looks busy.
Yeah.
Anywho, score predictions, or do you got anything else?
I'm good with this. I'm good with the score prediction.
Mr. Perry over there.
Has a big game today. Let's say it's going to be high scoring. We know that. I'm going 88 to 85 Kentucky wins, and I'm going Amari Williams as my MVP. I'm going to steal it from you because I know you were going to go with him.
Actually, I wasn't. I have a slightly mixed-up choice I'm going today. I think I picked 91-87 Kentucky. Like I said, I'm weirdly confident about this game. I don't know why. I don't think a lot of the spread has kind of thrown me off, but I'm really just focusing a lot on Missouri's last 4 games. It just does not seem like they've played their best basketball at all down the stretch of the season here. So hopefully Kentucky could try and take advantage of that and keep them on that level and not give them any early, inspiration, early energy, especially with it being senior night and all that. So I'm sure there'll be some fun pregame festivities. But 91-87 Kentucky. I'm going Andrew Carr as the MVP. Kind of similar.
Oh, I like that.
I think he's going to have a good matchup down low. I don't really know how they'll defend Mark Mitchell, if it'll be Amari or if it'll be Andrew Carr early on. That'll be interesting to see. They'll probably just do a committee thing eventually. But I do think Andrew Carr comes out, hits a couple of threes, hits his signature, like 5-foot push shot that he gets an and one on like every other game, it feels like. So I'll say 16-8 from Andrew Carr is his.
Ooh, I like that.
Give him the MVP today, and Cats win by 4 in a high-scoring game, fun game here in Columbia.
Well, we are going to head inside to Mizzou Arena. Very,
aptly named.
Not. I feel like they could have gotten a little bit more creative with it, but hey,
Kentucky Arena is
until they get bought out by some, whatever. What was the Schnucks?
Yeah.
It's their version of Kroger. So it's going to be Mizzou Arena presented by Schnucks here very soon. But until then, we're going to go in. We're going to have a good time. Hopefully, be celebrating a big time victory, and then go back down that damned hill that we so desperately hate. And we'll see you on the other side. Go Cats!